WWE was down on the bayou this week for Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live on Monday, February the 18th and Tuesday, February the 19th, 2019. To kick off Monday Night Raw, the then, now, forever opening video package that we see on all WWE programming week in and week out. But Monday Night Raw was in Lafayette, Louisiana at the Cajun Dome. Triple H already in the ring once again. Music is playing. He starts off his promo. Can you feel it? It's that time of the year. We're officially on the road to WrestleMania. Well, we have been for the past couple weeks, ever since the Royal Rumble. But with the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view behind us now, we are on the fast lane to WrestleMania, as Fastlane is the next pay-per-view on the WWE schedule. Fastlane Sunday, March the 10th. Go check out what I thought of Elimination Chamber. Video is right here on Gridiron Ring's YouTube channel, and if you tuned in and watched my live reactions this past Sunday of Elimination Chamber, thank you. I will be live once again on Sunday, March the 10th, the day before my birthday, so happy birthday to myself. This is where you insert happy birthday to CoolHandLuke96. You can also follow me on Twitter, but the next time I'll be live for WWE will be for Fastlane Sunday, March the 10th, so I hope to see everybody then. So like, follow, and subscribe on social media if you haven't done so already. The links are in the description below. So Triple H, already in the ring, music playing. Can you feel it? It's that time of the year. We're on the road to WrestleMania. The last 24 hours should be proof just how exciting the WWE is right now, with history being made with Bayley and Sasha Banks, Boss and Hug Connection capturing the first ever women's tag team championships, and then Finn Balor. He is the new Intercontinental Champion after he defeated Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush in a 2-on-1 handicap match this past Sunday at Elimination Chamber. So, a couple title changes this past week at Elimination Chamber. Somewhat surprising. I talked about it during the live stream and in my thoughts and opinions video, so go check those out. And then Kofi Kingston as well, last week on SmackDown in the Gauntlet match, and then also at Elimination Chamber, stealing the show inside the chamber in the WWE Championship match. But Becky Lynch, this was the key part, the main reason why Triple H was in the ring to kick off the show, so we thought, because the past couple weeks Becky has been in a storyline with the Authority. And I'll have more on what Triple H said here in a little bit. But Becky Lynch, the man came around, shout out to Johnny Cash. She will not let the 60-day suspension get in her way of going after Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. Corporate side of things, though, Triple H says the next time she does what she did at Elimination Chamber, she will be arrested and prosecuted. If you did not know, she attacked Ronda Rousey and Charlotte with her crutches on Sunday at Elimination Chamber. Personally, though, says Triple H, it was pretty damn cool. But then he goes on by saying, first thing this morning, ESPN was the first to report that the first announced WWE Hall of Fame inductees will be none other than D Generation X, DX. Triple H, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, X-Pac, the New Age Outlaws, Road Dogg, and Billy Gunn, and then the ninth wonder of the world, China. I know a lot of people are happy about that. But if that's not enough to prove that this is the road to WrestleMania, says Triple H says he is about to pour gas on the fire. As a lot of people know, my responsibilities are more than just Raw and SmackDown. He messes that up a little bit, botches it, so keep an eye out for that on Botchamania sometime soon, just as we all do every now and then. But he says, let me try this again. It's live TV. There are no screw-ups. So he has more responsibilities than Raw and SmackDown. He oversees NXT. NXT chants from the crowd at that point. Now, there were some rumors. WWE put out a story before Raw saying that NXT superstars were spotted backstage before Monday Night Raw. So, to kick off the show, to get the ratings up, it made sense. So these superstars, says Triple H, will be debuting tonight and making their in-ring debut. The first superstar from NXT, the one and only Ricochet. Ricochet video package. In addition to Ricochet, the Dutch Destroyer, formerly known as Tommy End, Aleister Black. Aleister Black video package. Also in action, the current NXT North American Champion, Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano video package by that point as well. Then they saved the best for last, the current NXT Champion, Tommaso Ciampa, and then a Tommaso Ciampa video package as well. There's a saying in NXT that the future is now. You will see the future tonight. I know I said in my thoughts and opinions video now, as we move on to what happened on Monday Night Raw this past week, that I can see Kevin Owens versus Finn Balor for the Intercontinental Champion. And yeah, that could potentially still happen in the future, maybe at Fastlane, more than likely at WrestleMania though. But I bet you any money Kevin Owens will be revealed as the leader of these NXT call-ups, these recent NXT call-ups, because we've had two sets of recent NXT call-ups in the past month and a half. So we'll have to see what happens moving forward. There's some rumors going around as well that, and this, by the way, is recorded on Tuesday before SmackDown Live, so I don't know what's going to happen on SmackDown tonight. There's some rumors going around that Kofi Kingston's going to be facing Daniel Bryan at Fastlane, and then maybe Kevin Owens is going to be facing Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. So we'll have to find out and see. Stay tuned for the second half of this, the second part of this SmackDown, Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live recap from this week. I'll have the SmackDown side of it here coming up in a little bit. So stay tuned for that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do put Owens against Daniel Bryan, or maybe as the leader of this recent NXT call-up group with Ciampa, Gargano, Aleister Black, and Ricochet. But right now, says Triple H, all hell is about to break loose. These tables that are by the entrance are there for a reason, because there is a tables match next. Baron Corbin, the Lone Wolf, the former general manager of Monday Night Raw, will face off in a rematch from that no disqualification match on Sunday at Elimination Chamber. The man he defeated, the monster among men, Braun Strowman. So a tables match was next on Monday Night Raw, Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman. So they came out, actually did their entrances, but then they went to commercial break. Come back from commercial break, bell rings. Only way to win is to put your opponent through the table, says Michael Cole. Strowman ended up winning in a good back and forth opening contest on Monday Night Raw. I thought Corbin really worked the ribs of Braun Strowman the entire match, but Corbin didn't have any help this time around last night on Monday Night Raw like he did at Elimination Chamber a couple of nights ago. So Strowman gets redemption in a singles match, a tables match versus Baron Corbin to kick off Monday Night Raw. Then a DIY reunion, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano versus the Revival is advertised for later on in the night, because earlier when Triple H announced these NXT superstars that were going to be debuting, he did say they would be in action, but they, at that point, didn't say who they'd be facing off against in matches on Raw. So DIY versus the Revival advertised for later on in the night, along with Ronda Rousey versus Ruby Riott in a Raw Women's Championship rematch from the night before at Elimination Chamber. That actually was your main event. Going to take a look back now at Brock Lesnar's climb to the top. So Paul Heyman, he appears at the top of the ramp after Braun Strowman is walking back up the ramp towards gorilla position. Braun Strowman actually puts his hands on Heyman, but he didn't do anything. He just acted like he was going to do something, but then he didn't. Heyman was having some trouble talking at first because, well, he just thought Braun Strowman was going to kick the shit out of him, so rightfully so. So they go to commercial break. It was scripted. It was planned. So Paul Heyman then, when they come back from commercial break, is in the ring. He goes on by saying he is not surprised by Braun Strowman's actions, what he just did to Heyman a moment ago, but everyone should be envious of the beast Brock Lesnar because Lesnar is the best champion of all time in the WWE and in the MMA world. So a video package showing Brock Lesnar's past with Heyman doing a voiceover work on that. And this was only up until the point in his career when he defeated The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30. They actually show later on in the night, and I'll get to that here in a minute, the second part of his career from 2014 on up until now. So how many of you believe that Seth Rollins will emerge from his blaze of glory as the Universal Champion at WrestleMania? Actually, let me know down in the comments below if you think Rollins is going to beat Lesnar at WrestleMania, but that's what Paul Heyman says. Paul Heyman says, and I quote, "How many of you believe that Seth Rollins will emerge from his blaze of glory, the Universal Champion, at WrestleMania? There's not enough fuel in Seth Rollins' soul to burn down Suplex City." Some strong words from the advocate, Paul Heyman. Heyman actually then gets interrupted by the new Intercontinental Champion, Finn Balor. That was the end of that segment with Paul Heyman. Rollins did appear later on in the night backstage, got interviewed. I'll get to that here in a minute as well. But once again, Lesnar on Raw. He will be on Raw, though, next week, I believe. And then I believe maybe once or two more times right before WrestleMania to hype up his match versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 35. So Heyman, he got interrupted by Balor. Balor is live next. Commercial break. They show highlights from the Intercontinental Championship match the night before between Finn Balor and Bobby Lashley, along with Lio Rush in that 2-on-1 handicap match. Balor goes on by saying it's been a while since he had one of these championships, and boy, does it feel good. Dream of his to be the Intercontinental Champion. He plans on defending, but he gets interrupted by Lio Rush. And actually, the night before, Bobby Lashley turned on Lio Rush, so keep that in mind. Rush says Balor doesn't deserve to be the new Intercontinental Champion. Bobby Lashley does. The almighty Bobby Lashley, according to Lio Rush, deserves to be the Intercontinental Champion. But then Bobby Lashley attacks Finn Balor from behind. Like I said, keep that in mind from a moment ago. Lashley turned on him the night before, but now the band is back together, Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley. So then Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley attack Finn Balor, but then Ricochet, one of those new NXT call-ups, comes out and saves Finn Balor. And Ricochet is awesome. I actually have videos of him from a NXT live event that I attended early last year, so go check those out. They should be in the Wrestling MMA playlist right here on the channel. So any recent or any videos from live events that I've attended in the past are right here on the channel. I'll have new content published in the next month or so. So keep an eye out for that as well. So commercial break, commercial for SmackDown Live, actually promoting SmackDown Live for now tonight. Like I said, this is being recorded before SmackDown here today, Tuesday, February the 19th, 2019. They will announce Daniel Bryan's Fastlane opponent. Watch for that to be in the main event, I bet. And then Miz, he will have a public apology to Shane McMahon, I guess. We'll have to find out and see on SmackDown tonight. But up next, a tag team match, Finn Balor and Ricochet versus Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush. Finn Balor versus Ricochet. If they move forward with them teaming up, tag teaming from now until WrestleMania, I'm fine with that, but then one of them is going to turn on the other, more than likely. Hell yeah, I would love a Ricochet Finn Balor Intercontinental Championship match at WrestleMania, even though I said I'd love Finn Balor, Kevin Owens. If they put Owens against Daniel Bryan, I love that. It's even better. And then if they put Ricochet Finn Balor Intercontinental Championship as well, that's awesome too. I'm fine with both of those. From what I knew at the time of the recordings, I'm just telling you my thoughts and opinions moving forward, why I would probably do storyline-wise, fantasy booking in the WWE. So Ricochet and Finn Balor, they actually defeated Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush on Monday Night Raw in the tag team match. So moving on now, Triple H, he was backstage talking with Natalya. Drew McIntyre interrupts. McIntyre wants Seth Rollins so he can beat him and then face the Beast Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. So they're still somewhat, like I said in the live reactions on Sunday, Still trying to find a backup plan for WrestleMania for Brock Lesnar, it looks like, if Seth Rollins can't go due to injury. And I think that's why they had Lashley lose to Balor, have Balor become IC champ, maybe put Lashley against Lesnar, maybe McIntyre versus Lesnar, maybe Strowman. We'll have to find out and see what they do if Seth Rollins cannot go for WrestleMania, but still the match 48 days away now at WrestleMania 35 is Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. So McIntyre wants Rollins so he can beat him and then face Lesnar at WrestleMania. But then Dean Ambrose interrupts, says he is not doing anything tonight. What about me? McIntyre then versus Ambrose later on in the night. Commercial break. Lucha House Party in a tag team match. But first, they recap what happened in the main event last week on Monday Night Raw with Vince suspending Becky Lynch, adding Charlotte to the WrestleMania match versus Ronda Rousey, and then also Charlotte attacking Becky at a live event over the weekend, the night before the Elimination Chamber. So last Saturday night in Alexandria, Louisiana, plus Becky on Sunday attacking Ronda Rousey and Charlotte at Elimination Chamber. Now, I talked about all that these past couple days in the recent videos, so go check those out. So Lucha House Party versus the Edgeheads, Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder ended up taking the pin. Losing streak continues, singles or tag team wise. So Lucha House Party wins on Monday Night Raw. Up next, though, another tag team match, DIY versus the Revival. But then first, they actually cut to Charlie Caruso, who interviews Heavy Machinery on the top of the ramp, and then Lacey Evans comes out. So Heavy Machinery, along with Lacey Evans, Nikki Cross, EC3, Lars Sullivan is supposed to be in there as well. I think that's all the other NXT call-ups that have been made in the past month or so. The first batch of them up until the 4 that debuted on Raw this past week. I'll get to the other ones, the other matches here in a second. Let me know down in the comments if I'm missing somebody from that first batch. I believe it's just Heavy Machinery, Lacey Evans, Nikki Cross, EC3, and Lars Sullivan, if I'm not mistaken. But let me know down in the comments if I'm missing somebody. And also, it's very weird, I think, what they're doing with those NXT call-ups, because Lacey Evans really hasn't done shit. She just keeps coming out and trying to make a name for herself. Heavy Machinery, Otis is just a Randy Savage 2019. Tucker, he probably has some things. They both have some things to work on, but they're on the main roster, for a reason. But we'll see what they do with them. I really don't know what to think about them. I don't really think they're that good of a tag team, but who knows? What the hell? We'll move on. Commercial break. Come back. Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano are talking to each other, but they get interrupted by Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, who lost last week to the Revival for the Raw Tag Team Championships. So they say, welcome to Monday Night Raw, but what Bobby Roode and Chad Gable don't understand is why DIY, Ciampa and Gargano, have a match with the Revival and not them. As I said, they lost last week to the Revival for the Raw Tag Team Championship, so they want a rematch, basically. Long story short. They don't come out and say that, but long story short, that's what they're hitting at. Gargano says, we've been running the hottest brand, otherwise known as NXT, the last 2 years, and they're here on the main roster on Monday Night Raw to take over. But then the Revival interrupt. Here comes Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. This is backstage. They just come walking out of the door. Brand new Raw Tag Team champs coming through. They're one of the best tag teams on the damn planet. And it was about damn time last week that they gave them the championship, so I'm happy. But then Ciampa, he goes on by saying we're here to make an impression. So we'll have to see what happens. DIY Revival is next. Great back and forth tag team match on Monday Night Raw. DIY, Ciampa and Gargano defeat the Revival. They pin the Revival, so they'll move forward with that, saying, oh, we pinned you guys, we deserve a Raw Tag Team Championship match. So we'll have to see if they do maybe a singles match once again at Fastlane, maybe a triple threat, adding Bobby Roode and Chad Gable into that as well for their rematch, but we'll have to find out and see. So next then, one of the tag teams that were in action earlier in the night, Finn Balor and Ricochet, they get interviewed by Charlie Caruso backstage as well. Kevin Owens then, home video from a movie theater this time around. Last week it was a bowling alley. This time around, he is in the lobby of a movie theater eating popcorn along with his son, Owen. And there's a little bit of a comedy skit there. He says, "Where's my change?" His son says, "There is no change." He's like, "You got popcorn and a drink. Where's my change?" He gave him a 20. He's like, "There's no change." So obviously the kid's keeping it for himself, or Owens is talking about the prices of concession stand items nowadays, which is absolutely ridiculous, but that's a story for another day. So Kevin Owens, home video from a movie theater this time around. He says just a few more weeks until he returns, so he's just given an update. He's been rehabbing, training, spending time with his family, and watching Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live, just like he's been doing the past 4 months that he's been on the shelf. Bayley and Sasha Banks promo then next, but they get interrupted by Nia Jax and Tamina. So Bayley and Sasha were just out there, all boo-hoo. Okay, we won the first ever women's tag team championships last night at Elimination Chamber. Nothing really went on here, so I'm going to move on. Next, one of the highlights of the night, a DX video package for the Hall of Fame. So D-Generation X, DX, will be one of the inductees in the Hall of Fame this year. Dean Ambrose, Drew McIntyre is next. WrestleMania is 48 days away as well. Drew McIntyre ended up winning with a Claymore kick. They go back to the Brock Lesnar video package once again with Paul Heyman doing the voiceover work. This time around, though, they're looking at the second half of his career from 2014 up until now. So 2014 on SummerSlam 14 when he defeated Cena. Up until now, he's defeated basically everybody that they've put up against him since then. So like I said earlier, everything in the first video was from him growing up, attending Minnesota and winning a NCAA wrestling championship, then coming to WWE, becoming the undisputed WWE champion, then going to, he went to football then at that point, and then went to New Japan. They didn't show that in there. But then he went to the UFC, became a UFC champion, and then he came back to WWE in 2011, 2012, I believe it was. It was WrestleMania. It was right after WrestleMania 28. And then him ending the Undertaker's streak, WrestleMania streak at WrestleMania 30, being the 1 in 21 and 1. Damn good video packages for Lesnar. They were. I thought they were, at least. But up next, Seth Rollins, who I said was backstage later on in the show. This was next. He gets interviewed by Charlie Caruso. It seems like she was the only one giving interviews on Raw last night. We'll have to see if the same thing is going to be the case tonight on SmackDown, or they're going to have somebody else do it. We'll have to find out and see. I know damn well they have more backstage interviewers. Hey, WWE, if you need somebody, give me a call. Hit me up on Twitter at ColehandLuke96. The links are in the description below if you're listening. So Rollins, he gets interviewed backstage by Charlie Caruso. Rollins says Lesnar's reign is over. Basically just says what he said last week on Raw in his promo. Rollins says Lesnar's reign is over, and whether or not he leaves WrestleMania by himself or on a stretcher, I will leave Seth Rollins. I would love to leave WrestleMania the Universal Champion. The real Universal Champion. I mean, I can be, Universal Champion or WWE Champion, whatever champion I want to be, here around the house and whatnot. Well, around the man cave, I should say. Anyways, moving on. One way or another, whether he leaves Mania by himself or on a stretcher, Seth Rollins says he will leave WrestleMania the Universal Champion. So I really think they'll build him up a lot to where, okay, it's basically just a pick'em, like Lesnar. Like, okay, he has a shot, but then Rollins also has a shot as well. Because Rollins is, man, he could really lead. He could be the new face of the WWE if Roman Reigns isn't going to be coming back. And I said that time and time again, and I'll say it again. Seth Rollins, he can lead the company into the future if Brock Lesnar is going to go away for good and not be seen until he gets inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in the future. So get ready to walk with Elias because he is next. They go to commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, Elias. Elias says he will not be doing his normal skit because he's fed up with everyone and that he is the most talented, charismatic, and talented superstar that has come through the WWE in a very long time. But Elias, he does say he's going to sing a song for himself. But just as he starts playing, here comes the Dutch Destroyer, Aleister Black. So Aleister Black comes out. They did his entrance perfect. I'm glad they're keeping the same thing on the main roster. We'll have to see if they have these four on SmackDown as well moving forward, and we'll have to see if they change anything up with the four moving forward as well. But Aleister Black comes out, cuts a short but damn good promo, long story short, telling Elias that he will fade to black. So if you don't subscribe to Gridiron Ring right here on YouTube, you will also fade to black. So be sure to hit that little subscribe button. So Aleister versus Elias is next. Aleister ends up winning after a black mass. It was a decent match, not really anything special, but obviously room to build off of for all these superstars. So the future is very, very bright on both Raw and SmackDown, also in the NXT of WWE. So the main event then is next. Ronda Rousey versus Ruby Riott in a Raw Women's Championship rematch. They go to commercial, come back, and they advertise Ric Flair's 70th birthday celebration for next week in Atlanta, Georgia. So that will probably be in the main event segment next week, I'm thinking. They'll probably have some other Hall of Famers in attendance, other stars that have been in the WWE before. Normally, those things end not the way you'd want them to. So we'll have to see what they end up doing with Ric Flair's 70th birthday celebration next week. So Ronda Rousey versus Ruby Riott, your main event. Ronda ended up making Riott tap out with the armbar once again, 2 nights in a row. So Ronda Rousey wins. She is still your Raw Women's Champion. So that's going to do it for the Raw recap. Stay tuned and see what happens on SmackDown. Okay, so SmackDown just got over a short time ago. It's Tuesday night, February 19th, 2019. Tom Phillips kicked things off with Welcome to SmackDown Live. And then we heard Shane McMahon's entrance music, so here comes the money. Shane O'Mac kicks off SmackDown Live. But before he started talking, we had a Elimination Chamber WWE Championship match recap from on Sunday. A 6-man tag team match then is advertised for later on in the night. Ended up being the main event. Kofi Kingston, AJ Styles, and Jeff Hardy versus Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, and Randy Orton. So that just got over less than 15 minutes ago. So Daniel Bryan, he does have an opponent now for Fastlane for the WWE Championship. Another match also was announced for Fastlane. I'll get to that here very, very shortly because it had to do with Shane O'Mac and The Miz. So they also say we're also going to find out who challenges Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship at Fastlane. Like I said, they announced that at the end of the show. So what's up, New Orleans? Says Shano, as he does to any city, whatever city that they're in, for Raw or SmackDown or pay-per-views. So amazing main event. But how impressive were the 4 NXT call-ups on Raw last night with Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Aleister Black, and Ricochet? Shane O'Mac was so impressed, so they will be on SmackDown later tonight as well. But then The Miz interrupts. You hear awesome. Miz comes out. Miz has a mic in his hand, so we know it's going to be good. He says he's sorry for interrupting, says he just can't wait any longer, and he has to get something off his chest. Miz is heartbroken that he lost the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships on Sunday to the Usos, and then Miz has a confession to make to Shane, saying that he used him. Yes, The Miz, you heard that right. Miz said that he used Shane McMahon. Miz goes on by saying he knows there's no automatic rematch clause, but if there was one person who could make it happen, it would be Shane McMahon, with him being one of the co-leaders of the WWE. So then the Usos then come out. They say Miz is a joke, a loser, a failure, a fraud, a wannabe A-lister with C-list skills, and if Shane wants a rematch, he needs to find a new tag team partner. Shane then says, "You don't insult my tag team partner," and that the rematch is on, and it will be happening in Miz's hometown of Cleveland, Ohio at Fastlane on March the 10th. So then Aleister Black comes out. That segment, the opening segment's over. Aleister Black comes out. Aleister Black versus Andrade is next. SmackDown Live, they go to commercial, come back. SmackDown Live, presented by Fighting With My Family, the new movie that comes out on Friday about Paige's life and journey to the WWE. So Aleister Black video package before his match, and then once the match got underway, a split screen commercial. Come back from that, got over very shortly after that. It was a good match, but Aleister was in control for most of it, and he ended up winning with a black mass. So the Dutch Destroyer now 2-0 on the main roster after defeating Elias last night on Raw and Andrade tonight on SmackDown. So they cut to DIY, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, watching the match that just got over with backstage, and then they get interviewed by Kayla Braxton. So yes, the WWE has more than just Charlie Caruso to do backstage interviews. Kayla Braxton doing backstage interviews earlier tonight on SmackDown Live. So the Bar then, Sheamus and Cesaro, they interrupt. Cesaro says, "Hey look, Shamey, it's Bring Your NXT Superstar to Work Day." They go on by saying, Cesaro does, "No one knows who you are. No one cares. Go back to Raw, NXT. Just stay away from SmackDown Live." Ciampa then says, "Is that a question?" Sheamus says, "Think this is a joke?" And then DIY say, "We're not joking. We're here to take over." And then Gargano says, "We're not here to set the bar. We're here to break the bar." Jeff Hardy along with AJ Styles are then backstage with Kofi Kingston and the rest of the New Day, Xavier Woods and Big E, with some pancakes. But advertised for next is the Bar versus DIY. So the Bar, they make their way down to the ring. They go to commercial. DIY then comes out, Gargano first, then Ciampa. It was the other way around on Raw, if you noticed. But a good back and forth match. Ciampa and Gargano also win. So NXT superstars that debuted on Raw, that won, that are also on SmackDown here tonight, they won once again. So, spoiler, Ricochet did win his match as well. So they're all undefeated. It makes sense. You don't want your guys to lose that you're just calling up. You want them to look very, very strong. So, Ricochet, he faced Eric Young coming up here in a minute, and I'll get to that when it comes around. So they cut to Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe and Randy Orton talking backstage. And then, speaking of Ricochet, that was actually next. Ricochet video package. Ricochet versus Eric Young from Sanity. I guess the WWE has been listening to my reviews of Raw and SmackDown and my prediction videos, so thank you. Like I said the other day, Sanity, they had not been on TV, I believe, since like last summer. And I had said just to put them in the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championship picture, and they very well still could. We'll have to find out and see. But Eric Young was in action versus Ricochet. So at least they're on TV. But I just want to say thank you for watching, whoever you are from WWE. You can also follow me on Twitter and Gridiron Ring on social media as well, at GridRing18 and CoolHandLuke96 if you haven't done so already. The links are in the description below. So Asuka interview then next, and then they go to commercial, come back, DX segment, the same one that was on Raw on Monday night for the WWE Hall of Fame, as D-Generation X, DX, as I said earlier, will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year, 2 nights before WrestleMania, Friday, April the 5th. So then Kayla Braxton, she interviews Asuka in the ring. Asuka wants a new challenge, says that she beat both Becky and Charlotte Flair at TLC. She made Becky then tap out at the Royal Rumble, and she is still your WWE SmackDown Live Women's Champion. So Asuka wants to know who's ready for Asuka. Then Mandy Rose comes out. Graves then says, "Oh God." Yeah, I'm sure both he and Carmella were saying that a lot, if you know what I mean. Yeah, you know what I mean. So Mandy Rose versus Asuka is next. A regular singles match, wasn't for the championship. During the match, Lacey Evans comes out. I've been hearing maybe she'll be facing Asuka at WrestleMania for the title. We'll just have to find out and see about that. But Mandy Rose, she ended up winning with a roll-up pin after faking an eye injury just right before the match got over. And Graves was awesome on commentary during this match, saying that this is the greatest day of my life, which I highly doubt, because the way his life has been the past couple of days, yeah, I would say this wasn't the greatest day of his life, long story short. But he's one of the best, but he was awesome on commentary during this match, putting out some of his best work in quite some time. So that match got over. Mandy Rose pins the SmackDown Live Women's Champion. They then cut to Charlotte backstage. Charlotte talks about Becky's recent actions the past couple days over the weekend, and then at Elimination Chamber on Sunday with her attacking both her and Ronda Rousey. So Miz walking backstage then. Shane appears. Miz has breaking news saying that his dad, Mr. Miz, aka George Mizanin, will be inside at Fastlane for the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championship match between co-besties and the Usos. So one and only Ricochet versus Eric Young is next. Yeah, so they advertised that a moment ago whenever I was talking about that. So the match is up next now. Ricochet versus Eric Young from Sanity. A split screen commercial for Sanity's entrance, but at least they are on TV. Ricochet ends up winning after a decent match with a 630 splash. So all four of the recent NXT call-ups win this week on both Raw and SmackDown, which is expected, like I said, because you don't want some new, fresh talent to lose on their opening matches on the main roster. It just makes sense. You don't want them to fail. You don't want them to look weak. You want them to look very, very strong as possible. So New Day interview backstage now in gorilla position. They go over Kofi talk during this, and then they go over Kofi Mania that actually got trended on Twitter, was trending earlier on Twitter. And then they actually show Big E doing the first part of New Day's entrance, with him singing along, getting the crowd involved, getting the crowd hyped up, which was very surprising, I thought. But now, for all the people who thought that was already pre-recorded, well, WWE just proved you wrong once again. So the main event is up next, the six-man tag match between AJ Styles, Kofi Kingston, and Jeff Hardy versus Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, and Samoa Joe. But first, a look at the new movie, Fighting With My Family, which, as I said earlier, is based on WWE superstar Paige's journey to the WWE. So they go to commercial break, come back from that commercial break, show the same exact Kevin Owens home video promo from Monday Night Raw. I talked about that earlier, so I'm not going to go over it again. Daniel Bryan then comes out, says his opponent at Fastlane will not be anyone he is facing tonight in the six-man tag, whether he's facing off against him or they're his tag team partners, because he already defeated them all at Elimination Chamber. Very, very good main event. Very, very good match to end SmackDown, to end WWE TV this week. I mean, NXT is tomorrow, and I guess there's going to be some breaking news sometime soon, so you might hear it here first. To be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, this has been out there before. I mean, there's been a lot of rumors floating around with SmackDown going to Fox on Friday nights, going to be live on Friday nights in the fall come October. There's been some reports that NXT might be going live as well, maybe moving to Thursdays, maybe staying on Wednesdays. We'll have to find out and see. But from what I heard earlier tonight, right before SmackDown went on the air, after I got done recording the Raw recap, waited for SmackDown to start, and then watched SmackDown, obviously recording this now after SmackDown got over a short time ago, that NXT could be going live on Wednesdays on Fox Sports 1. So, somewhat breaking news. You might have heard it here first. I don't know if anybody else knows about that or not, but yeah, to end WWE TV this week, I thought they did a good job in the main event earlier. So NXT tomorrow, and then they'll have Raw and SmackDown. Well, they'll have the live events this weekend, and then Raw and SmackDown next week. So keep an eye out next week, this time next week, for my Raw and SmackDown recap once again. So in the main event, after a good back and forth match, Kofi Kingston, AJ Styles, and Jeff Hardy defeated Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, and Randy Orton. After Kofi hit a in Paradise on the WWE champion Daniel Bryan, he pinned him 1, 2, 3 clean. So Kofi pins the Planet's champ DB, Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, whatever the hell you want to call him. So then Shane McMahon comes out, still up there in authority. You know, he's McMahon. As I said, he's one of the co-leaders of the industry right now. He's not the commissioner of SmackDown Live anymore, but he's still up there. He comes out and announces that Daniel Bryan will defend the WWE Championship versus none other than Kofi Kingston at Fastlane on Sunday, March the 10th on the WWE Network. And I will be live right here on YouTube doing live reactions play of that pay-per-view as well. So I hope to see everybody then. So let me know what you guys thought down in the comments below of Raw and SmackDown this week. So thank you for listening. Like, follow, and subscribe on social media. The links are in the description below.